Prof. Nafsiah is our senior fellow at RE. Yeah, I really appreciate Prof. Nafsiah experience, and of course I think mula-mula tu Prof. Nafsiah our ambassador to Indonesia, because she is responsible to bringing a lot of Indonesian students to RE and also training program at RE from Indonesia. Kemudian lepas tu dia move to Korea, she moved to Korea and she is now actually a fellow at Chongbuk University in Korea. And I think last year we had a very successful conference at Seoul National University, SNU. It's not easy to get there. Everything sponsored for in Prof. Nafsiah, what we call because she is actually president of the government, public sector. And then suddenly when she was in Korea, she became interested with social enterprise and Undong. I think this Undong is something from Korea. But I met the guy, the professor in Korea, who introduced this concept, and I was really amazed how they have helped the Korean, came out from poverty, and this is what I think now the new passion from Prof. Nafsiah to talk about social enterprise and how using social enterprise we can help the poor. So she is trying to keep the suspense. I'm just telling you a little bit about what she is going to do, but I think it is going to be something very interesting. She has a few Indonesian students who is doing a thesis on this so I think please listen to Prof. Nafsiah. She has a lot of passion. She only speak based on passion. So kejap lagi you must ask her question, because when you ask her question, her mind work faster. So kejap lagi tanya dia soalan, jangan tak tanya. You can start listing the soalan in the chat box so that you will not forget So I really appreciate Prof. Nafsiah. Dia pun last minute, patutnya we started already in June so dia last minute baru dia join dia join this webinar. So I think nevertheless better late than never. So I hope we will enjoy her talk Prof. Nafsiah.
What I can share with you a little bit, because I think when we talk about social enterprises, because I'm not going to explain this in detail in the slide, because I'm going to explain just a little bit about our findings. Social enterprises is something. When you talk about definition, it is difficult to define what is social enterprise. However, based on the Korean model, we call it the Saemaul Undong, Undong tu dah jadi mi undong tu Prof. So it's Saemaul Undong. Se means new. Mau, what you call it? Mau is a village or community, and Undong is movement. It's a new movement in 1970s, where at the time the president, Prof. Park Chung-hee, he was the one who started it. But I think one of the things that the Koreans did was how this. I mean, it is quite amazed, how the community worked together. Right, they are willing to cooperate no matter what, and then everyone, either in a village, either you are rich or either you're poor, they work together, and fantastic. We went to the museum to look at the things, all the history of Saemaul Undong, and half a day is not enough. It is, orang kata, mesmerized. Kita terpegun tengok. To me, is how it started, and we are talking about the culture of the Korean. Okay, so when I discussed with my team, Dr. Farah Aida from Malaysia, boleh ke kita kat Malaysia buat macam tu? The culture. So these are the things that we are trying to do. So at the end of the day, based on our discussions with Professor So Jin Kwang, who is already our partner in crime, so one of the things he suggested, which I'm going to say at the end of the session, is something that will be something good for UITM. Yeah, so he is ever willing to help because he was once, or he was the past president of the Saemaul Undong Center, and he got lots of ideas that that he thinks that we can help. I mean, like at the moment in Malaysia, we don't have any what do you call that, university or organization that focus on this Saemaul Undong. Because we also have what we call global Saemaul Undong, and request, you know, for help, yeah, from countries from Africa, Latin America, and so on. You know, so many people going to the Saemaul Undong Center for help, you know. So he was suggesting, like, why not UITM? You know, you already come up with some kind of findings based on Saemaul Undong, do something, improve it, and then you start your own, which I think that is what our research team is trying to do. So I'm not going to say much about that. So I would like you to enjoy the presentation. It is not, I'm not what do you call it, sharing you the whole research, but it's just a part of the research to share with you what we have done so far, and just tips here and there. And I would like to open this, if you don't mind, here, Prof. Noma, that whoever is interested, you know, to join us, you know, and then to be part of the research team, you know, not just to go to Korea, but, you know, to be part of the team, to come up with, you know, we have our Sonata model, the formula, and then maybe to improve that, and then we make it as a UITM product, but we must have, no, sorry, RE UITM product, and then, you know, we make it big. So whoever is interested, I think RE most, you know, we welcome, yeah, anyone. And my team, you know, we really welcome whoever wants to collaborate with us. Thank you. Yes, Prof.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, but maybe for your information, yeah, Prof. Nafsiah used to run rumah anak yatim, ya, Subang Jaya. Dia memang her interest is in this charity, and she is being called bonda and mama by as small young kids, ya. So dia memang hati dia, jiwa dia sangat soft, ya, sangat ingin membantu lah semua orang lah. I think that is something I really appreciate Prof. Nafsiah. So maybe dah dekat waktu dah ni, Prof. Nafsiah.
Yeah. And on that note, yeah, I also like to thank Prof. Noma, because of my passion, yeah. So Ari gave us a grant for my team to work on a joint research with Chumbuk National University on the governance of welfare homes in South Korea and Malaysia. So we make a comparison, and it's a vast comparison. And we come up with sort of a system, and I think we entered, we come up with a product. We entered IDEX last year, and we got gold for that, and we hope to improve on it. Yeah. So thank you very much, Prof, for that introduction. Yes, now, Prof. Rafia, I leave up to you. So thank you very much, everyone. So I hope everyone, you are all in great health. So on behalf of my team, I would like to say welcome, selamat datang, annyeonghaseyo, manaso banggapsmida. All right. Those of you who have been to South Korea, have been to Seoul, this is down memory lane. Now, what we are going to talk about today is just a part of our research findings, mapping the sustainability of social enterprises. Yeah. So as you can see, social enterprises are having lots of problems. Yeah, especially in maintaining their performance. So what happened is, yeah, we are trying to come up with a formula and later a model, yeah, to assist or to help the social enterprises for their future sustainability. Yeah, so we are mapping. That means we are doing a reality check for all these social enterprises, especially in Malaysia. Okay, so the sonata. So you hear in your background the sonata, the winter sonata. Is it something to do with winter sonata? You might be asking, right? Maybe, yeah, because all of us love winter sonata. So, but actually, sonata arise from the names of our researchers. Let me introduce to you our researchers. Yeah. So we have Professor Sojin Kwang, who's from Gachon University, South Korea. So we have the So there. And we have my true self there. Well, I don't know what she's doing there, hugging a tree. Yeah. And then we have Dr. Farah Aida from UITM, from ARI. And we have two partners in crime in Indonesia. We have Professor Dr. Intias Utami. Well, I'm sorry, Prof. Intias, I know you're there. Spelling error is Utami, not Utama. From Universitas Kristen Satya Wacana Salatiga, Indonesia. And also Associate Professor Dr. Rizal Yahya, Universitas Muhammadiyah, Yogyakarta, Indonesia. Thank you very much to my team members. I know they are there. And then from their names, we decided, we took 2 days to come up with the name Sonata, yeah, and it just happened that way, okay? And this research would not be, should I say, something meaningful or fruitful, or without the help of 3 of our strong research assistants. We have Nur Syafiqah Kapli from Malaysia, and I've got 2 Indonesian PhD students, Halim Dedi Perdana and Rudy Suryanto, who really helped throughout the fieldwork and throughout the research. Okay. Now, on that note, also, since we received the grant from the government, yeah, so we like to express our gratitude to Kementerian Pendidikan Tinggi, to University Teknologi Mara, ARI, especially to Prof. Noma for the trust and support. And also to Chembok National University, Seoul National University, and also Korea Saemaul Undong Center for assisting us, okay, in making this a reality. Okay. Now, I'm sure many of us wants to know, yeah, why. Prof. Noma has mentioned a little bit, it's my passion and so on about where we got this idea of doing a research on Saemaul Undong. So I'm going to do just a brief introduction on this. So we talk about the background. So you ask us when was the first time we came across this term Saemaul Undong? Okay, in short form we call it SMU. Yeah, what is SMU? Why SMU? Why South Korea? Is it because of the K-drama, K-pop, and no? I guess it's not because of that. It is something else, just to share with you. And I did mention to you earlier that we had a joint research between ARI and Chembok National University, where our team conducted research on governance of welfare homes in South Korea and Malaysia. So we came across the term Saemaul Undong quite a number of times during interviews, discussions, review of literature, but at that moment, it did not trigger any interest at all. So what, Saemaul, and we find, very difficult to pronounce it at that time, and we just forget it. However, yeah, in November 2018, we had a joint conference between ARI, Seoul National University, and Chembok National University. It was held in Seoul, and SNU was the host. Okay, and just to inform you that at that conference, we had an MOU signed between ARI, UITM, SNNU. So just to show you, our director there signing the MOU. And I think it's not just signing, it's not just documents, but after signing of the documents, the collaborations, the networking keep on coming and coming and coming, which I think we are not just talking about doing a joint research, but I think most important thing is the networking, the networking between ARI, and SNU. Okay. Now, so at that conference, one of the keynote speakers is Professor Dr. So Jin Kwok, and I think you've seen his picture earlier. Yeah, he's a professor at Gachon University, and he was the past president of Saemaul Undong Center. Now, he presented a paper of the success stories of Saemaul Undong in South Korea and also in other parts of the world. Now, he explained on how South Korea, from being one of the world's poorest countries, to become the 7th strongest economy today, and that was at November 2018. It was a superb, awesome presentation that that inspired us to carry out the research. Yeah. So as I said just now, signing an MOU is not signing an MOU. Now, through our networking with SNU, we were able to get in touch with Professor So, and then the story begins. Okay, that was when we started the story, and I started to communicate with Professor So, and he's very helpful. He's been sending me articles, he's been sending me all kinds of information about Saemaul Undong, and then it goes on. And we were very lucky in the sense that I convinced my director that wanted to do a research on social enterprise using Saemaul Undong concept, and she agreed, and we took off from there. Yeah. So the objectives of the study, what we wanted to do is to explain the SMU concept. Yeah. Say, as I said, new village movement. What is this movement all about? Okay. But however, in this presentation, I'm not going to explain to you the whole concept because it will take ages. Yeah. To explain that, I'm just picking up here and there. And also, what I would like to share with you is from the research, from the data collection that we have conducted, we were able to develop a model, even though it's just, should I say, a draft model, for the sustainability of social enterprises, but we already test run it, and I think it is workable with some minor adjustments here and there. Okay. So this is what we did, our methodology. Yeah, we went to South Korea. Yeah, we interview and we had some discussions, because I think we reading itself is not sufficient. I mean, if you are talking about a policy, a concept that is established in another country, you need to go there, you need to meet the right people, you really need to dig and dig and dig and understand the whole concept. Then only you can build up, from there. Otherwise, just by reading is not sufficient. Okay? Now, after we have done all the interviews and all the discussions, okay, we go to phase 2. And in phase 2, what we did was to analyze the data collected. Okay? And from the data collected, then we proposed a formula. So what happened was, when we did the interview and discussion, we had like a 3-day session, interviews and discussion, and then we spent like another 2 days, I think 2 days, to sit down with the team members, to brainstorm, to synchronize back all the information that we receive from the interviews and discussions. Oh yes, the motivation during that time was we were in Seoul. Yeah, so we had our brainstorming, our retreat in Seoul, discussing, analyzing the data, and then from there, okay, we came out with some kind of elements that we think we could use that to start building a formula. Once we have done that, each of us, we go back to, we come back to Malaysia, and our Indonesian colleagues go back to Indonesia, and we start, test run it in Malaysia and Indonesia. So who did we interview? So we interviewed the person who is very, very relevant at that moment. Okay, so again, getting to know Professor So was very, very lucky because he was the past president of the Saemaul Undong Center. So he introduced us to the current president, yeah, Mr. Chung Sung Hon, and we went there to interview him. Yeah, he doesn't speak any English. He speaks only Korean, but language is not a problem. So we have an interpreter, and lots of information, sharing of information from him. And I think many of us might think, when you have an interpreter, will be like a serious interview. No, there was laughter here and there. He makes fun. We don't understand it, but from the interpreter, we understood what he was trying to say, and we laugh after that, even though there was a delay laughter. But it was fun, yeah. And then we had another interview with the president of Korea Institute of Public Administration, Professor Dr. An Song-ho. He can speak English, perfect English, so we got no problem with that. So the reason why we met him, you see, the success. One of the success criteria of Saemaul Undong is because of leadership. Yeah, and these leaders, they are being identified, they are being nurtured, and then they are being sent to training centers. Now, for Saemaul Undong centers, okay, those training centers specifically for the villages. The villages, all the, what we call it, the potential leaders are being sent to these Saemaul Undong centers to be trained, to understand, the whole concept of Saemaul Undong. All kinds of trainings were being done there. You see, another success factor is the cooperation, the collaboration, the support from government to the villages. Now, government here refers to the central government, the local government, so if the local government, they do not understand this whole concept of Saemaul Undong, how would they be able to assist? How would they will be able to help the villages? Because they themselves do not understand how the whole thing works. So we have this keeper, who specialize in training the public servants, on one of these concepts. It's not just for Saemaul Undong, but it is what do you call that? A center for training public servants. Okay, so we went there, to discuss with him, and there's a lot of positive feedbacks that we receive from him relating to training and so on. Okay. Now, apart from the interviews, we also had discussions. We need to discuss further. So again, I say we are very lucky to have Professor So Jin Kwang. So we call him Professor So Oppa. So he is like a big brother to us now. He was the past president, okay, and also he's our team member. And we discussed a lot of things with him. Before we go and interview, the presidents. We discuss with him, things that we need to be asked, things that the do's and don'ts, and all the ethical issues, the protocols and things like that. And once we have interviewed them, then we get back to him and then discuss with him again. Okay, these are our findings. What do you think? And so we talk about discussions, brainstorming, and so on. And then we went for site visit. We were given this Dechgol village. Dechgol village is about 1 hour from Seoul. So it is northern of Seoul. So we were brought to this village. So at this village, we met the committee members of the community project, and there we did some discussions. Again, they don't speak English. So when they don't speak English, then we have an interpreter. So we have one of the committee members who can speak broken English, so it's okay. We were able to communicate, and they were able to ask them, and they were able to deliver, whatever information that we need. And we also been brought to Saemaul Undong Museum. I tell you, it's a beautiful museum, and it is so much information that half a day we spend half a day there, but it is not enough. There's so much information that you get from there, and everything is so detailed about the history of Saemaul Undong. So whoever wants to know about Saemaul Undong, I think you need or you must visit the museum. Okay, museum there, because that is where the history of Saemaul Undong started. When we went to the Undong Center, Saemaul Undong Center is also a training center. And we also visited the Chugo Village Community Project. And then we were brought around. They showed us, projects that have been carried out for the community. Okay, this is, as you can see, that is the president of Korean Saemaul Undong Center. Then we have the interpreter there. So the first thing, that he says, that I don't speak English, So when he says that in Korean, so I told him, I'll say 죄송합니다. Okay. 한국말 못해요. Then he started to laugh, So my Malaysian and Indonesian colleagues do not understand. So what it means that I too do not speak Korean. That actually started the interview session started with laughter. So and it went on fine, and he shared a lot of things, his experience, and so on. A lot of motivation. He's a very positive person, and I think that's why he's there as the president. He, even though he speaks Korean, but his motivation, his spirit, it was there. So it really inspired us to know more about this Saemaul Undong. Then we went to see the president of KIPA, Professor Dr. An there. So on my left, there's the vice president. So yeah, a lot of information that we gathered from this interview. So anyone out there who want to be trained at KIPA, we can go there. Hopefully we can get FOC, but through ARI, so we can arrange to go for some public admin training there. Okay, so it's now a good friend of me and ARI. Then we have discussion with Professor Sojin Huang. So as you can see, we discuss anywhere, during dinner, we have our coffee break, everywhere, because I think time is so precious that we need to discuss a lot of things over there. It's not just like pre and post, it's all the time, and we also communicate through the phone and the things that we do not understand. So it's working all the time. And then we visited the community project. Now this community project, this is a project, if you are talking about Malaysia, for instance, this is a suburban area. Okay, so they have certain projects here. So, these projects they have. So one of the projects they have is they have this restaurant. So the restaurant is funded by the community, and whoever the cook, they're not being paid. And then what they do is every meal, from breakfast, lunch, tea, and dinner. There'll be someone, a volunteer in the community, will come and collect food, and then they will take it to the old folks. In the village, they have, one thing that surprised me is that they have a full list of names, of people living in the community. okay, and old folks and so on. So they have all their addresses. So every time, the old folks, they live alone, right? So so every time they no worries about food, So this community that they have, they will bring the food to the home. So even though they are these old folk, they are 80, 90, or even 100 years old, there's always food on the table, and someone will accompany them. And so, I mean that, this started from the Saemaul Undong concept. Okay, from the Saemaul Undong concept in the 70s, then they built up this spirit, which they call it the Saemaul Undong spirit, and it goes on and on until today. That really amazed me. The culture that they built, from the 1970s until today. And then, when they showed me the list, of the old folks in the village, and, with their dresses and what they do, and wow. And if you see one of the pictures that we have, I was talking to the community. Now that is a small place where, they have all the it's not a charity shop or where they sell the clothes, but whoever, who doesn't want, the winter clothing or whatever, they put it there. And then, they have at the back there, they have the washing machine and so on. So whoever wants, they just come. Everything is free. Everything is free. Everything is borne by the community. So you just go there, right? So even the clothes, if you need any clothes, especially winter clothing, you just go there and then get one. Okay. Great, isn't it? Yeah, great. I'm not sure, when we can have that kind of a culture, in Malaysia. I just wished, we can have that kind of culture. Okay. All right, so we finished with all those visits. Okay, so our intention is to do research, to do research, to do interview, and surprisingly, if you look at the picture, then we took the photograph. We have the banner. So the banner said, "Welcome, welcome to the international delegates." So we are the international delegates, coming, and you can see me talking there in English, definitely, but it doesn't matter. I assume that they understand what I'm saying, even though it's in English. But the most important thing is, okay, we try to share whatever that we have, and they share whatever that they have. Yeah. Okay. Now, we were surprised that our visit, the news was published in 5 national newspapers and 1 local newspaper. It surprised us. So yeah, here it is. Yeah, definitely it is in Hangul. Okay, I want to say something here. I would like to say thank you very much, UITM. Why do I say so? Because my research assistant, Shafika, she did a degree in accounting in UITM, and her third language is Korean language. And with that knowledge that she got from UITM, she was able to communicate a little bit in Korean, and she was able to translate, the Hangul, so that we would understand. Thank you very much, UITM, for that. And yeah, go on with the third language. Okay, so yeah, these are, this is the translation that we did, the visit, the coverage, and so on. I mean, how should I say? The feeling of being appreciated. It was just a research, like normal research, but being appreciated by those people there. We don't talk about food. Don't talk about other things. But being what do you call that? Being publicized in the newspapers is something that we never expected. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Yeah. Okay, so once we did that, we have done all the fun and all, going here and there, right? sit down and start to analyze. Okay, what did we learn from the 2 day visit, you know, to the community project, and the interviews that we have gathered, and also the discussions. Okay, so we sat down, and you know, the first thing, you know, everyone start to brainstorm, and then everyone start talking about these three things. Because during the interview, you know, they keep on talking about diligence, self-help, cooperation. Diligence, self-help, cooperation. So, I mean, like, what is this? What is this? What is this three important factor, attributes, or elements, you call it, that, you know, they keep on repeating over and over again, right? So this is what we found. So those three are what they call the Saemaul spirits. Okay. So what do you mean by diligence? Diligence meaning that the community must have strong work ethics. They must have spontaneous motivation, self-motivation, not to wait for someone to motivate you. It is self-motivation and pioneering spirit. Okay. So they believe that the early bird gets the worm. Okay? So don't wait for tomorrow. Do it now. It's always now. Okay? Not tomorrow. So if you wait for tomorrow, tomorrow never comes. Okay, they believe in that. Yeah. And another Saemaul spirit is self-help. What does that mean? It is sense of ownership and responsibility, self-consciousness. Yeah. So there must be some sense of ownership, some sense of accountability, you know, because and they say that heaven helps those who help themselves. If you don't help yourself, nobody is going to help you. So you don't expect that everyone is going to help you, and you just wait and wait and wait. No. Okay, the Saemaul spirit is that, okay, you got to work on your own. You have to have your own responsibility, and then people will come to help. And the third Saemaul spirit is cooperation. They mean sense of community for mutual help. Cooperative spirit. Don't work alone. Okay? So they believe that two is better than one. Okay, so because don't be, well, they say thrifty, yeah? Stingy. You know, you work together. You know, cooperate. 2, 3, 4. You know, is better than working alone. So this is a spirit that they have imbued, they have instilled in the community, in the Koreans since 1970. Okay, so day in, day out, this is the spirit, and until today, this is what they practice. Yeah. Okay, now these are the key success factors that we discovered during the interviews, discussions. One of the things that made them successful is the central government's guidance and support. Okay. They need a guideline. Okay, they need to know what to do. They just can't just pop up like that. So the central government need to tell them, okay, I want you to build the road. Okay, so it started from that. I want you to build a road for this village. Right? I'm not giving you money, but I want you to build the road. So I give you the iron bars, I give you, you know, all this material that you need, then it's up to you. So, you know, it's up to you. Yeah? The support is by giving them all the materials to build the road. Okay? So, secondly is the people's participation. Okay? Now, yeah, initially, you know, from history, not many people wants to participate. Okay, so the government's policy is that we reward, okay, reward for those who are successful. Those who are not successful, we leave them behind. Okay, that was their what do you call that? Their policy, right? You don't want to join, fine, we'll leave you, right? Or you do it, no, we are doing not wholeheartedly, then you lose, you fail, we're going to leave. We are not going to reward you. We are going to reward you if you do it well, if you are successful. Yeah. So I think that reward, okay, really motivate the people to work harder, and more people start to participate in the community projects. Yeah. So in a village, you know, there are all kinds of people there. You know, some agree, some disagree, have all different political beliefs and so on. But at the end of the day, because of the reward, yeah, then more and more people. So because you see, a wide range of people's participation, you know, in doing the project, in what do you call that, in undertaking, you know, projects that being done. So you can see that, you know, it is working. Yeah? It is working. Okay? And then the third one, we notice they keep talking about leadership. Yeah, so they have the Saemaul Undong Center training center for leaders. Yeah, to lead their community, to lead the village. They focus on that. And then we have Kipa, you know, to train leaders in the organization, you know, to assist the villagers. So it keep on talking about leadership. So they nurture this leadership by giving them training. You know, they always supervise the leaders. They always assist the leaders. Not just after training, that's it. You know, no. They send them for training. Then after training, they assist them. They monitor. They supervise, and you know, nurturing them to become good leaders. So, and well, you can see, you know, that after a while, that everyone have agreed on that. And who are these leaders? They are being elected among the community. So the community will elect a few leaders, yeah, the potential leaders, and these leaders, they've been sent for training to understand the whole concept and so on. Then they come back, and then after that, you know, they train, you know, they disseminate information to the villagers, and then, you know, it grows and grows and grows, yeah. And the fourth one, as I mentioned earlier, they imbued in people the spirits of diligence, self-help, and cooperation. So we keep on, you know, doing this. You must have this, you must have this, you must have this. So, you know, everyone, all the committee, each and every one of them, you know, are being imbued, you know, into this. So, you know, they are retune their thinking, okay, that each and every one, you know, you must have this diligence, self-help, and cooperation spirit in you for you to be successful. Okay, so these are the key success factors that we identified during our visit. Yeah. Okay. So once we have done that, we brainstorm, and then we identified that these were the success factors of Saemaul Undong based on our field work. We sat down and identified elements that we feel that for future sustainability of social enterprises. So based on the interviews, based on the discussions, so they did mention some terms. So we come up with common terms that they keep on, you know, keep on repeating and repeating. So we have a long list. So at the end, we identified, or we agreed upon 8 elements, yeah, that we are going to use, yeah, as elements for future sustainability. Now, once we have done that, then we developed a set of questions relating to the identified elements. Okay, at this, on that note, yeah, I would like to thank Rudy Suryanto, yeah, he's my PhD student, and also Singko, yeah, from Indonesia, who has helped us a lot, okay, in developing the set of questions for us to conduct the survey. Thank you very much, Rudy and Singko. Yeah. So once we have identified the questions, then we conducted the survey in Malaysia and Indonesia. And we analyzed, and then we developed a formula. Okay. Now, these were the elements that we identified. We talk about leadership, participation, potential, capability, market management, empowerment, supervision, and control. Okay, so these were the common themes, yeah, because we do qualitative research. So these were the common themes that we gathered during the interview and discussions, and we felt that these are the 8 elements that we should highlight on. Okay. So we came up with certain formula, right? Formula, because we felt that out of the 8, we cannot like focus, we give the weightage equally to all the 8. So there are certain formula that we used, and then based on the theme, based on the frequency that we decide upon, and then we come up with the formula. And from the formula that we have come up with, so we come up with the Sonata model. So from the Sonata model, that is where we map, okay, map the social enterprises. So we distribute the survey questions to them. Okay, they answer the questions, and from there, so we're able to map, and then we see the performance. And for your information, when we analyzed and we map it, yeah, into a pattern, you'll see later. We noticed that the one that fit into our elements, okay, when we look back at their performance, they are doing fine. But those who did not fit well with the elements that we mentioned earlier, yeah, they are not doing well. They are having problems, okay, they need help, and we're trying our very best to see what we can do. Yeah. Okay. So we came up with this. This is what we call the ideal Sonata model. Okay. So what we can see, if you look at this model, you can see that leadership, okay, if you look from 0 to 5, okay, leadership is very, very important. Okay. So this is the ideal one. So leadership is the highest, okay, 5. Whereas all the other 7 is quite difficult because it's very subjective for us to allocate the percentage. So we decided in this phase, yeah, to allocate a 3, yeah, to all the 7 elements. So this is the ideal. Okay. Now, what happened is we sent this survey to Malaysian social enterprises and to Indonesia. So I think we got no problem with Indonesia. I think because since it is the question were developed in Indonesia, yeah, so they understand more. Okay, in Indonesia, so they send questions to what they call BUMDes. Okay, in village enterprises, when they call BUMDes, which is the Badan Usaha Milik Desa. So I think the elements that we mentioned, the 8 elements, suit them very well. But when we tested in the Malaysian environment, we sent out a few. We only one that that fits into our model, whereas the others, they were not able to answer the questions because either they don't have it, or they just some adjustments need to be done. Okay, so with this, we only have one example that we can share with you from Malaysia. Okay. Okay. So if you look, this is one example, okay, from Malaysia. If you notice, this company, this social enterprise, okay, this one problem, right? In terms of supervision, in terms of control, none, 0, right? Everything is controlled by the leader. Right? Whatever decisions are made by the leader, so not much being done. And in fact, when you talk about empowerment, also not much, and also the rest. Okay, so and then when we look back at the company, okay, and yeah, the company also is not doing well for whatever reason. Financially also they're not doing well. So we did some reality check because we also do research on financial health checkup, and yeah, they're not doing well. So from this, when we map their performance, are we saying will they sustain in the future? Okay, I'm worried, yeah, that they will not be able to sustain. And what more with all this pandemic COVID-19? So we do not know. Yeah, we just hope that after this we're able to revisit them, yeah, and find out more about them, yeah. So that's only one from Malaysia. Yeah. So let's visit Indonesia to see clearer. So this is from Yogyakarta. So we call BUMDes Amarta. Okay, this BUMDes also, as you can see, yeah, very strong leadership. However, when it comes to supervision and control. So if you look at this, okay, when we talk about an organization, yeah, being controlled by leaders, okay, there is, or there's likely a potential of fraud to occur, okay, because there's no supervision, there's no control over there, okay. So that's why I'm interested to look at this. So when there's no supervision, when there's no control, and the leader, as you can see in this case, leader controls everything, so the chances of fraud to occur is very high. Yeah. Okay. Let's look at another one. This is BUMDes Kutu in Bali. Okay. Well, as you can see, what happened? This BUMDes is that they establish the enterprise, and they just go on, yeah, and they just do whatever they want to do without thinking about market, whether whatever they do, whatever products that they have, whether it's marketable or not. They don't care whether they are capable of expanding, or is there any potential what do you call that, leaders, potential market, whatever. I mean, they don't care, okay, as long as they have a village enterprise, they're happy with that, and they are not performing also. This one in Lampung, BUMDes Maju Mandiri. This one still, yeah, the leadership, yeah, everyone wants to be a leader, no supervision, yeah, is haywire. Okay, so this BUMDes is having problem. Financially also they're having problems. So you see, just by looking at this pattern, this map, this model, you're able to predict, yeah, their financial performance. Okay. BUMDes Tirta Mandiri. Now you look at this, yeah, this BUMDes, as you can see, is almost, yeah, like the ideal Sonata model. And when we look back at the company, we notice that, yeah, they're doing very well. Everything is tip top. No cons about that. So that's what I was saying just now. By just looking at that, you're able to interpret. You can predict their performance. Okay, we also have one from BUMDes Gujati Perdana. Here again, yeah, they do have very good leadership, supervision, but in terms of expanding and so on, so they need certain expertise to help them, to assist them, yeah, in moving forward. Otherwise, to sustain in the long run, I think it'll be a problem to them, because in terms of market, as you can see, it's quite low. Yeah, and in terms of participation, also quite okay. The community are willing to participate and so on, but they need the expertise to assist them to expand, to improve. Yeah. And we also have this one. This one, I think you yourself can predict what happens. So as you can see, everything is not well, everything is going haywire. Yeah. So, okay. So now, before we end, yeah, the group have, even though we are far, far apart. Okay, what next? Okay, we need to revisit the formula, because that formula was made last year because of the impact of pandemic COVID-19. So we need, maybe there's some new elements that we need to look into. And also the different countries focus on different elements. So Indonesia, for instance, the one that I've showed you, they fit perfectly to the Indonesian environment, was probably because it was created or established, the questions were established in Indonesia. So in Malaysia, we need an improvement, okay, to the questions to fit the Malaysian environment. Now, just to share with you, yeah, I think earlier I did mention that Saemaul Undong is big. They have Saemaul Undong the original Saemaul Undong, and then now they go global, so they call it global Saemaul Undong. Okay. Now, what happened is countries from from the African continent, from countries from Latin America, they are keen, to find out, because they are poor countries. So they found out that, South Korea, from poor country, adopting this concept, and then they can develop, they can spend, they become, very rich now. So they are learning, they want to learn, but, they're too far. So this is a suggestion, from Professor So, that why not? Now, why not make it Malaysia? We have really, we have done our groundwork. We know what is Saemaul Undong. We know now what are the elements that are required for Malaysia, for Indonesia. Okay, why not? Okay, we have another Saemaul Undong. Okay, Saemaul Undong in South Korea, yeah, that is the original one. But he suggested that why not Malaysia have one where you focus on Malaysia and countries that you want to focus on, and maybe we can grow big, we can expand, and then we can handle countries in Africa, Latin America, Europe, and so on. I mean, like, this is a suggestion from a past president of Saemaul Undong Center. I was like, like, wow, yeah, why not? Yeah, so why not? This is something, maybe, we are in the right place, the right time. I do not know, right? So our goal then, REUITM, go global, yeah? I got no doubt about it, because nothing is impossible. Okay, the word itself says, I'm possible. So we are going to do it. So yeah, since my director is here, so I'm telling my director, Prof. Noma, we are taking this challenge. REUITM is going global. We are going to take Prof. So's challenge. We are going to build up these elements from Saemaul Undong, and we are going to make it an REUITM product. And again, I'm going to repeat it. I'm so passionate about this, so I like REUITM, go global, it is like, it is in my mind, all the time. And yes, we are going to do it. So with that, thank you very much. Terima kasih. Kamsahamnida. Thank you, everyone.
All right, Prof.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prof, for your great presentation. I think this is our niche area that should establish and enhance to UITM. Yeah. And then there is few questions, Prof, from yourself. You are really passionate with your expression, Prof. Born by community. So where do they get the finance?
They referring to the Saemaul Undong Center. All the funding comes from the government. Yeah, the center itself, is from the government. So they set up the center. Then from there, all trainings are free for the villagers. When the I just give you an example. In a village, for instance, okay, you have a group of people who are farmers, right? So they don't have finance, but the Ministry of Agriculture help them in terms of plowing the land and so on, and giving them the seeds and so. They don't give in terms of money. They give in terms of assistance. So they plow the land and help the farmers and so on. So they do that. And then they have another group of people, who help them to market the product. So once they harvest the product, so you have another group from the community who would, sell the product. It's up to them where to sell them. So, you have, it's like, it's not barter trade, but it is a supply chain thing. Right? So the government does not give them assistance in the form of monetary terms, but they give in terms of assistance. What you need help in terms of machinery, or all these agricultural things, or whatever, the government just give them, but not money. So money, okay, you have to find it yourself. That is their concept from the beginning until today.
Okay, then I think it's an opinion. I think the kindness show affect one positively, and then he mentioned, what does Sonata stand for? There is a question from audience, Prof.
Sonata.
Yeah, what does Sonata stand for?
I think that person came late, right? So it actually, we wanted to come up with our own formula, So we were discussing that in Seoul actually. So when we were saying, so we were talking about, even though it was spring at that time, but it was cold. So we were talking about, we want to go to Nami Island. We talk about, things like while we were brainstorming, there's so many things that comes into our head. And we talk about Sonata. Then suddenly I said, hey, why not we come up with Sonata? So we try to figure out, our names. So it fits nicely, the word Sonata with 5 members in a group. So that was where Sonata with an R comes into the picture. And I think they will get the slide, right? So the slide, I explain, where the Sonata comes from. Thank you.
Okay, and then there is a question. How can we implement this kind of model in Malaysia, Prof?
How can we implement? I think I should ask that person, how can we, I need help also how to implement that. Again, from the key success factors that we've seen, the first one is support and guidance from the government. So we need that support, we need that support from the government that to assist us. We are not as rich as Korea, and then we don't have that spirit, that Saemaul spirit. So maybe when we talk about support, maybe we need in terms of some financial support, from the government to get us to start off, and then with that support and the awareness, and I think we need to have some form of this. If in the South Korea they use the Saemaul spirit, diligence, self-help, and cooperation, maybe we, based on our environment, our culture, maybe we can come up with our own Malaysian spirit. We have our gotong royong, is a cooperation, faith, and whatever that we believe in. So maybe we can come out with that, imbued in that. I know it will take quite some time, but it is not impossible. So we can do that. We got to always think positive. We can do that. Everyone need to cooperate. Anyone need to actually, awareness is important. You need to be aware of what what you are doing, what you want to do, and the purpose of doing it. So how to implement it? I mean, it is very subjective. Okay, so whoever asked that question, maybe you can assist us. Okay, giving some suggestions on to shortcut on how to implement this. But to me, it will take quite some time, to convince, because what we are doing now is not top bottom, it's bottom up. We are doing the research, we get the findings, we need to convince the government. You see, this is what we have done, it is workable. So it goes that way. Yeah. So we do hope that it will not be that long, so that we can implement this sooner or later. Thank you.
Okay, there is another question, Prof. Assalamualaikum, Prof. Nafsiah. We know that this project is basically a community-based or society empower, but is there any partnership with the local government? From Aisyah Kasim.
Okay, if you are referring to the Korean, there is no partnership with the local government. Okay, it's just the community, right? It is a community based. So when you talk about local government, the local government just assists them whenever they want. Okay, so because again, as I mentioned, it comes from the central government's guidance and support. So guidance and support comes with policies and so on. Yeah. So this is narrowed down to local government. So the community can need to comply to rules and procedures that have been set. Okay. So the local government is not part of the community project. Okay, they are there just to assist. So there is a separate entity there. Okay, they are not part of it. Yeah? So that is what is happening in South Korea. And I do hope, in Malaysia also like that. There is a separate entity between the local government and the community. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Prof. From Dr. Hanafiah Hassin, maybe you are familiar with him. Prof. Here, thank you, Prof. Hanafiah here. Miss you. You still very energetic. Wish you good luck for this big project. And then
Come join us.
And Prof. Norma mentioned, please go ahead. We will certainly support you all the way from your director, Prof. So I think there is all the question from the chat room. So is there anything, Prof?
Anything to say? So I like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for listening. And I do hope, well, this is just part of our research findings. If you want to know more, I think I've given my email address. And if anyone out there who like to be part of, our team, or who like to, suggest ideas and so on, come aboard. You are most welcome. Let's move forward. Let's go for it. Let's fly now, because we can do it. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
I want to ask Prof.
Yeah.
How long you been in Korea, Prof?
How long?
Yeah. How many years you?
How many years? No, I go there on and off.
All right.
Okay, and if you ask me whether I can speak Korean, no, I don't. But I do give lecture to undergrads and postgrad students. So when you give lecture, the students excited. They think that you can speak Korean. So you start there, you smile, and then you say "Annyeonghaseyo, manaso banggapsmida" with a smile, and then after that you say your name, Chunen Nafsiah Nida. Then you must have the disclaimer. The disclaimer is that Hangulma Moteo, meaning I don't speak Korean. So when the students have to clap and then they say, oh, at least I speak a little bit Korean. So, but if you go to Myeongdong, where I can assist you, to ask Iman Nayo, how much is it? So spend a lot of time in surveying Myeongdong and Namdaemun. So maybe we can have a trip there, doing our research there on how many Malaysians do go to Myeongdong, how many hours do Malaysians spend shopping at Myeongdong and so on. I'm learning. I'm learning because as a senior research fellow at Chongbuk National University, I do this joint research with them, and also I've been invited to do being speakers. So in next month there will be a conference in Seoul National University. So I've been invited as a keynote speaker there through webinar like this. And also in October there will be another conference. So these are all the networking with Chongbuk National University and with Seoul National University. So everything is in English, but I'm learning. Okay, I'm learning. So I'm supposed to be in Korea, to assist them in their research and so on, because of of this COVID-19, very naughty, didn't want to go back to Wuhan. So I guess next year I'll be going there, for winter sonata, hopefully. Anyone wants to join me?
So in other area like in art and culture, is that it might be different with Japan, or is that similar, Prof?
Sorry again?
In terms of art and culture.
Art and culture,
is that probably similar with Japanese or different?
I cannot compare with the Japanese because I've never been to Japan. I fell in love with Korea and that's it. So I've never been to Japan, but I do not know why, because I'm stuck in Korea. I think because of my passion. As I told you, when I was invited to give a talk at Chongbuk National University, and then I told them that I want to visit one orphanage there, and then they took me to an orphanage in Cheongju, and I just fell in love with that orphanage. It came at the orphans, the system, that they carry out. So I came back, I discussed with my director, and I said I would like to do a research, between Malaysia and Korea, because Korea's the establishment of welfare homes, they are great. In fact, when I went to interview, went to local government, they took me to what do you call it? They call it the industrial area, okay, and then they talk about licensing and so on. So we talk about facial masks. We talk about they ask a lot of things. You can email me and ask me. Can answer them. But one thing. I just like the way the system, they have the act, they enforce it, and then for instance the orphanage, they have the accounts, the financial statement, they're being audited, they send to the ministry, and then they send to the local government, and there is always a all year round monitoring, not just for all orphanages, but as compared to Malaysia, sorry to say, it's not like what is happening in South Korea, because in South Korea, if you say that you want to set up an orphanage or any tafis or any homes, you can't just say, okay, let's form a group and then form a company or form a society and let's form an orphanage. But not in South Korea, where in South Korea you have to have the infrastructure, you have everything. So everything is being checked. You are financially stable, you have the infrastructure, you have everything. Then only the government gives you the license to operate, and then they monitor you all the time. So the governance is there, but not in Malaysia. Okay, so I fell in love with that. I fell in love that the system there. Okay, they even have what do you call that, for women, women in Korea who married a foreigner and they're being abandoned, by the husbands and so on. Okay, the woman and the children are being taken care by the government until the kids are, reach 18, 21. Everything is being provided. Even as I said, the orphanage, the kids, they have their own bank account. Once they leave the home, they are millionaires. Money goes into the account, not to the home, and it is interesting. It's interesting. Maybe it needs another webinar to share with you.
All right. Okay. We'll invite you for the another webinar.
Yeah, with my boss consent, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you again, Prof. Yeah, and thank you everyone for joining us today. And I hope we will, we will see you next time. Yeah, Prof.
Yeah, sure. No problem, inshallah.
And yeah, it is great. Yeah, fantastic. Congratulations, Prof. Yeah.
Thank you. Kamsahamnida.
Kamsahamnida. How to say it? You're most welcome.
You're most welcome. Okay, you just say Kencanayo.
Kencanayo. All right, Prof.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Nice talking to everyone. Have a great day. Stay safe.